when it comes time for renewal or have put in renewal rights or negotiating that, definitely have an advisor with you, kind of mapping out what does it look like for you. Because renewals, like I said, they give you certainty in a sense, what to expect, predictability. Like a lot of companies want that, different businesses want that. So having that set, having it properly negotiated, having it properly structured, because there are options in, let's say you have your tenant that occupies 2,000 square feet, and then there's a bigger tenant that it's just 10,000 square feet, and they're wanting to expand, and you don't have a renewal option on your space, and there hasn't been any communications. Well, that bigger tenant, if they want that space, the landlord will go ahead and have a commitment for your space, and then you're kind of out of luck. So it does give you kind of like almost a first right refusal in some sense, but it does give you predictability to know that you have a space for the next 3-5 years should it come to that. But also, like I said, it's a right to renew. It's not an obligation, because you want to have it structured in there to where there's a certain amount of time that it must be executed to be notified and executed to say you're going to do it. And you want to do your due diligence ahead of time, monitoring the way that your business is growing, kind of looking at all your metrics. Is your business still competitive? Do you need to change locations because of that? Are you having a hard time retaining talent? Do you need to go where the talent is or where the talent wants to be? The financial metrics, has it changed to where your projections for sales, revenue, is going to start dipping? So maybe you don't necessarily need to be in that space because you're paying too much. You need to downsize. So you want to kind of start tracking that stuff early. Because like I said, typically if you're leasing about 5,000 square feet and under, you want to start having that conversation about a year in advance. When you start going to 10,000, 20,000 square feet plus, typically you want to start having a conversation at the very minimum 18 months, but typically 2 years. Because a lot of times when you're trying to find large blocks of space, that can be very difficult, especially depending on what kind of market it is, where that space might not be available. So it takes some work on the side of your advisor, your tenant rep, to go out into the marketplace, call touch base with the relationships, call different landlords, find out what stuff is coming available in that size of quantity, looking in your own building that you're currently at, to start having that conversation ahead of time. One thing about renewals, especially depending on how your business is, you can always execute it early if you feel confident in what's going on, especially if you need to expand, you want to make changes. You just execute that right and make some adjustments. Everything's negotiable. Again, one of the things that I love about commercial real estate, you're not tied into a box. It's about working the best deal for your business to keep you in business. Kind of what our aim is. So definitely something that should be paid attention to. Thank you for tuning in to our second part of the Level Playing Field ProCast-Elements of a commercial lease. Tune in next time where we'll be talking about the last and final segment of the different elements of commercial leasing for office, industrial, and retail space. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Dominic Green at CRE, ATENANTco at ATENANTco for LinkedIn and for Facebook. You can also follow me personally on LinkedIn at Dominic Green tenant rep advisor. And also follow us on Instagram at ATENANTco. And if you need more information about our services, what we do, experience, and additional information, go to www.atenanco.com and we'll be happy to help you. Until next time, happy leasing.